example, moving in a particular direction in this much more faster vibrational state, say moving 10 kilometers is equal to moving 100 kilometers in a lower vibrational state. Hence why there would be much easier transportation for some of these craft, if you will. Here we are. Yeah. Do you want to explain, Alexei, how they will drop down and then move a bit because it's all relative and then scale, vibrate back up again?
I mean, this highly relates to what Russ was saying as well, too. So basically, if you could say that our universe is this green shell, and our waking consciousness of the universe, the physical reality we experience, basically lies from alpha to slow gamma. So you could say in delta and theta, we're in dreamland. Then we have alpha, beta, and slow gamma. We're aware of our physical waking reality. Then you have fast gamma, where you're having out-of-body experiences and you're moving towards a denser realm. And so you could relate those to different orbits within the giant vortex of time. And so our waking perception of the universe, you could say, is related to a 20 hertz center and has a certain distance around the center of time. And so we get a different stretching and crunching of space-time itself based off of our distance from center. And so you could say that this is the energy being crunched to you, stretched away as you approach it into the future. And then in the past, basically, the energy reverts back to normal as you experience it, as you're orbiting and you experience it, because you have time dilations and Lorentz contractions. And so in the higher vibrations down in here, you actually experience more time. Up here, you experience less time. Because it's all related to the amount of vibrations. So this is basically what you were just showing, Dave, with the different layers. And so this would be our layer of the universe. And so there could be a denser realm, which is more inward, and a less dense realm, which is more outward.
So the idea would be, say, for example, if you were in a craft, that if you were in the yellow lower verse and you're like, holy crap, that's quite a distance to travel, you would vibrate down into the, say, purple noviverse, because moving to the right slightly in the noviverse is equal to moving substantially in the yellow lower verse. And then once you get to your designated coordinates, you would then vibrate back up into whatever.
Yeah, our entire experience of the universe is basically coming from a point in space. And at the most fundamental level, we have a consciousness perceiving a field of energy. And so just to move an inch in this dimension is basically already jumping to the stars.
Dan, is there anything that you agree or disagree with by chance, sir?
Well, I think it's probably quite a useful metaphor. A couple comments here. First of all, it's classic to think of access to the lower frequencies, delta and theta. They say, well, if your brainwaves are stuck down there, you're either narcoleptic or you're awake inside a dream. But I notice in my own brainwaves, after years of Kundalini, I have very dominant theta, very low frequencies. So being coherent in the lower frequencies of the brainwaves is better access to longitudinal array, the unconscious, because you're closer to the compression point, obviously. The other thing I would say in terms of the description of time here is, remember, I think a more useful definition of time is simply, obviously, rate of spin. So mass is the amount of charge that's stored in the rotation of charge, amount of inertia, whereas time is simply the rate of rotation. That's it. So time is literally the spin rate. So obviously, if you're blinking faster at a faster
right.
It's literally sampling rate. Your ability.
That's exactly what this is saying here. Yeah, where this is the orbits.
Yeah,
these are the different orbits related to frequency, right? And so as you get closer to center, you have faster orbits.
Yeah, which is sampling rate, which is very helpfully explains why you need to see your whole life flash in front of your eyes at the moment of death, because successful death is precisely compression into that array.
And going into the golden spot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you say blinking?
Yeah, and so basically I say we have a habitable spiral of perception as we drift inward towards the golden spot.
Yes, golden spot is a good word for it. I like it.
It's related to acceleration towards center at light speed while orbiting tangential, but slowly drifting inward.
Yes. Useful language, yes.
Did you say blinking, Dan? And I asked this because I was just blinking into existence, because just about a week and a half ago on my Patreon, where I have a series where I simply just explore ideas. That's all. I explored the concept of, and I still am, blinking to one's individual perception, refreshing, if you will, the universe that we live in, or the simulation, literally.
Yeah. So, if the spin rate increases, the sampling rate increases, which is the blink rate. So you can see it, 1,000 more events in that moment before death, which is the same. And Elena Danaan says when she talks to the 9, is she has the same experience. She sees her whole life flash in front of you. So you're entering compression. And the sampling rate increase is necessary because the information density of that array is precisely sampling rate, which goes toward infinite, but it's specifically in 5.
Can I show a picture here for Dan? This is going to be from the Infinite Pool of Experience and Awareness.
This is Alexei's book that he wrote, Dan.
This is this is basically all the books put together, and it goes step by step from modern accepted physics to basically showing that we live in this layering of conscious types, right? And there's this thing called conscious density. And you're talking about sampling rates and different harmonics in the brain.
Yes.
So I say that this is our delta wave, and it has a certain diameter in relationship to the theta, alpha, beta, and slow gamma. Because if you wanted to say that it's orbiting with an acceleration towards center at light speed, and it has a 1 hertz frequency, then it has a certain diameter. Theta, if you say it's twice that, the diameter ends up being 1/4. So you could say that each one of these is 1/4 of the diameter. And just thinking information, right, that can fit in a sphere, you could say that for every one delta wave, you could potentially get 64 theta waves. And then for every one theta wave, you get 64 alphas, and it goes on in that type of pattern.
I mean, I think that's beautiful, but really it is clear from the neurology literature that alpha, beta, theta, delta are specifically the ratio of the centers of those frequency domains are golden ratio by definition originally. So I would suggest using golden ratio in the nesting of those spheres, actually, and that would become pent implosive dodeca. But yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So this is the habitable spiral right here coming in, where this is not to scale. The drawing's not to scale because I couldn't fit the rings properly, right? It'd be too big. But yeah, I just wanted to share that one with you there.
Yeah, right. And I like the word habitable. It literally means what you can breathe into, precisely.
Yeah, it's because we have the habitable zone around a star. So within time, we have a habitable spiral.
In Habit, it literally means what you breathe into. So, Russ's metaphor is exactly right. If you can breathe, you slow down your breath and then you cohere that breath and then you breathe into, and then the implosive compression begins. And then your attention propagates. I'm so happy that I spent, weeks meditating when our Sufi master said, follow the center of gravity from your heart with your center of attention to the center of the earth, to the center of the sun. Follow the center of gravity with your attention. That was excellent physics, actually.
I like that. I just did that while you were saying it. It's good.
Guys, by chance, would this have anything, and this speaks to Russ, to Dan, to Alexei, anything with